Welcome back. We are now at the last game of Skate Around 6, Day 2. So our weekend will be over after this game, but stay tuned and watch because it's going to be a really interesting one. We have two teams from not very far away from each other.
Indeed.
We start with the Namur C team. What is their name? How are they called?
They're just called Namur C. In this case, that is their actual name.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
So easy one. Yep. And Baron von Schlass.
Yeah, that's the team from Lille.
Indeed.
So you have the Lille Switchblades, and then you have the Baron von Schlass. The fun thing about this is the reason I say they're not very far from each other is because we think of Lille in Belgium as really like the Belgium of France.
Oh, the Belgium of France.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And you can ask them about it, and they're like, yeah, we're more Belgian than French. They're just over the border.
All right.
And, you know, they have the train station. It's Lille.
Oh, of course.
Yeah,
Lille International.
there's Lille International,
Yeah.
and then the other side is Lille Flandre. And Lille Flandre
really?
is Flanders.
Oh, my goodness. And so
Yeah.
this is why they speak some Dutch as well.
Yeah, they do.
Or some Flemish, I should
Some
say.
Flemish, exactly.
Some Flemish, very important.
Yeah, so
Great.
they are honorary Belgians.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Love it. Well, shall we get some team rosters in here
Let's go for
in
it.
the next few seconds before we start? So playing for Namur Roller Derby, we have 1-7 Sisu, 2-3-1-9 Turbo Waffle, also the captain, 3-3 Le Boucheron, 4-2-2-4 Pixhell, 4-6-1 Sarah, 5-9 Dynam Hit, 6-3-9 Bazingirl, 7-3 Fanny, 9-5 Sneaky, 9-6 Hufflepunch, 3 Goldilocks, 5-6 Belzebut.
And we'll go ahead and start this next jam until before we get to the Namur roster. We have
This is
Sisu jamming for Namur and Patine
Patine.
Smith. Patine, which means to
to skate, right?
Yeah, so
Which is a
Patine
lovely
Smith. It looks like Patine or Sisu was able to get lead jammer status, but Patine was able to patine a little faster and get out to the front and make them call it. So that's a 0-0 jam.
Speedy first jam there. And now preparing for jam 2, we have Tejin Tonic for Lille lining up against Le Boucheron for Namur. And that's 5 seconds. There we go. And look at that. There's a really nice little run-up from Tejin Tonic, but denied by a blocker from Namur. We have a tripod at the front there, being broken ultimately by Tejin Tonic, who, having gotten knocked back, came right back out very efficiently, but being chased straight off the bat by Le Boucheron. So promises to be, one of those low-scoring short jams once again.
Yeah, and it looked like they were. It looked like Tejin Tonic was trying to get around some hips on the outside, and they succeeded.
Yeah.
So even though it was really quick and they had to call it off fast, they were able to pick up a couple points.
I've just realized that Tejin Tonic's name is a pun. That didn't drop from me before.
Tejin Tonic?
Gin tonic.
Yeah.
Tejin Tonic.
Tejin Tonic is
amazing.
your gin and tonic as well.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's
That's
not
very
mine,
nice.
it's yours.
Brilliant.
All right, lining up, we have Dynamite for Namur and Patine Smith that we saw earlier for Lille. So they may have a smaller jammer rotation. Patine Smith is out as a lead jammer. We still have a Dynamite who is working their way through the back, trying to get through with Goldilocks as pivot. So Goldilocks is somebody you probably saw in the Namur B game. So they will be filling in this game. I'd like to mention, as I always do, whenever we have a junior skater on the track, especially one as amazing as this one.
News.
Yeah, so unfortunately, Dynamite did not put their helmet painting on in helmet cover.
Yep, the helmet cover. In a secure enough way.
Secure fashion, and so it has just fallen off their head. And the thing is that no one seemed to notice.
No.
So it is. Oh, there we go.
There.
Now Dynamite is coming to pick it up. It was just sitting there all alone.
And you know, because no one noticed, the jammer for Lille also didn't realize. Apparently,
and so they called the jam.
Exactly. They could have had some more time on that jam.
But they did score 4 whole points, making it 6-0 here in Jam 4. So the score is coming up, but slowly.
Yeah, not shabby. And this is Tejin Tonic jamming once again for Lille. And Fanny taking the lead. I believe this is the first Namur lead of this game.
You would be correct. Fanny is also in parentheses called Bibiche,
Yes.
which is what my mother calls me.
Okay, and which is what we're seeing on the jersey. And what does Bibiche mean?
Bibiche means a little deer, little fawn.
Oh, that's adorable. I really like that. And look at that. There are some points for Fanny/Bibiche.
That would be because the Tajin Tonique is sitting in the box, not
Yes.
drinking a gin and tonic.
Oh, well, maybe later. After this game.
Not during the game for
No,
sure.
Exactly. Once it's all over. And so look at that. This is Fanny making another attempt at a point scoring pass, succeeding, getting through that Lille wall, collecting another 4 points. So very nice work there. Tajin Tonic back on track. Fanny calling it, I think, in time to totally protect that.
It definitely looked like it. So that means that Bibiche was able to get through with 8 points. And those 8 points put Namur in the lead and create our first lead change.
Amazing. I think we should be noting this.
We'll see how many lead changes. There may be a point at which we stop counting.
Absolutely.
If this is a close game, if this is anything like the last game, I could definitely not count how many lead changes there were. It was crazy.
That was an amazing one. And here we go. Oh, actually, it's your go.
It's okay because we have Patine Smith coming through on the inside after a great offense by Matrix number 360, who does a little matrix move as they come out the front as well. So they earn lead jammer status. Sisu is coming in hot, has just gotten through, and they are being yelled at to call from their bench. They listen to them and they do as they're told, and that earns them more points than Namur did. So we have 4 points and another lead change.
Yep.
See, we may need to be careful not to count these too much.
Exactly. If it goes past 5, I may quit.
I think that's a good idea. It kind of depends, but it's fun to see. So this is the Namur C team. They have 3 teams. The A team is their travel team or their highest level team. They've got their B team. That would be another team that probably feeds into that A team. And then their C team, which is going to be their newer skaters. But don't discount newer skaters because it takes a lot of work to become a scrimmage-ready skater, as Dynamite has shown,
absolutely.
and was able to push through with lots of force and get lead jammer on the inside.
And so this is Dynamite now approaching the back of that pack, aiming for a first point scoring pass, and then Tajin and Tonic very, very speedily getting into that pack there.
That was really cute, actually. So as we said, you know, it's not because they're newer skaters that they don't have some skills, because those were some excellent skills going up into a nice little side swipe on the outside to steal a point, which they got.
Exactly, and that is lovely. It's a 1-1 jam.
And that takes a lot early awareness as well to be able to do that. So
this is it. And awareness, of course, you train it, you gain it over time, but also you can have it quite early on in your career.
Yeah, absolutely. If you watch a lot of derby on live streams, like you should be doing right now.
Oh, look at that.
So what we had was Patine Smith, who came through the inside and
Yeah, no, not a penalty.
Patine Smith, who came through the inside, earned link jammer status. Unfortunately, one of the things that happened is that at the same time, Le Boucheron was just behind them. They got a penalty, and Patine Smith seemed to think it was for them.
Yeah.
So that may have wasted a little bit of time.
A little bit, yeah.
Because there's only 30 seconds that jammer is in the box, that opposing jammer is in the box.
Absolutely, but on the flip side, it is, of course, better to respond to a penalty you don't have than to not respond to a penalty you do have.
I would agree with that, except I have also seen people like play deaf and pretend like they don't hear it just to stay on the track a little bit longer.
Exactly, and we don't let
Nobody I know. I don't know anybody who would do that. I've just heard stories.
Okay.
So Patine Smith is still lead jammer, still controlling the jam. Has gone through for at least 2 scoring passes.
Very impressive.
I'm seeing 4 points up, so it might be 3. It is indeed 3 scoring passes, while Le Boucheron was only able to sit in the penalty box and think about what they did.
Yes, exactly. But
that
the good
I
news
don't know what they did.
No, me neither. I didn't catch that. We can check later and take a look at what all the penalties are. But the good news is, very low penalty game so far. And looks like we're going to have an official timeout very briefly. just to resolve some things, presumably.
Yeah,
And
it looks like the NSOs are talking to the head ref for this game, or no,
to the jammer ref.
Maybe the jammer ref for this game. So they're just
Yeah.
verifying the points and making sure that everything's all right. That last jam was 12 points for Lille, so it's 23-9 now for Namur.
Yeah, that was indeed the jammer refs and the head ref. I see there.
Yeah, jammer ref, head ref, or are they two jammer refs?
Yeah,
I don't
two
know.
jammer refs and a head ref. So we have Glitter is here and Quagga are our jammer refs.
And Lille Monster is our head ref for the day.
Exactly.
Lille Monster I've also had as a head ref on some games that I've benched. Very, very experienced, very good.
Very nice.
Very calm.
Yeah.
But does not show anything on their face. So it does look like after discussion,
it looks like we have a penalty coming in.
somebody may have done something wrong.
Yeah. So it looks like a little skater may be invited to report to the box as a result of something that happened.
But what's weird to me is I have an NSO over there who is talking to them. So it may have something to do with paperwork, which is silly because there may indeed be somebody going to the box and it may have to do with paperwork.
Yeah.
Oh, no, nobody's going to the box, but it was paperwork.
It was paperwork, absolutely. And the
That
paperwork
means
is
that
so
it's
important.
super important.
Yes.
It's super important. I can't tell you how much. Oh,
and
no.
now to the score table. Look at this. This is a moving feast right here.
Yeah, then we need to confirm, apparently,
Yeah.
maybe the points are indeed incorrect.
Well, I mean, that's a penalty lineup tracker. I got a glimpse of the paperwork. So that's a penalty lineup tracker and the head ref doing a little traveling around to a bench, then to the score desk. So that, I mean, that's got to be quite complex.
Yeah, in terms of an issue,
Yeah. If a penalty lineup tracker needs to visit the score desk.
That's really odd. I've rarely seen that.
It's
but
unusual.
It just shows you how professional our officials are.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter the level of the game. It doesn't matter which game of the day. This is the last day of a whole weekend.
Darn right.
This is the last game of a really long day.
Yep.
And I'll tell you what, there's some things maybe you don't want to deal with in the last game of a really long day.
But these are
as
great
a
officials.
good official, you're going to make sure that you take care of that.
This is it, you know? And I mean, heck, it's a hobby, right? But the people who do it are so spectacular and so dedicated.
They are dedicated.
Speaking of which, yes.
Speaking of, we need to talk about our officials for this tournament.
Yeah.
I'm going to run through the NSOs real quick. That's My Name is Jeff. Ming Mag Tigress. My Name is Jeff twice.
Hey.
All right.
So
My
good
Name
they
is
listed
Jeff
him
is
twice.
so good they listed him twice. Green Thunder, Kick Bruise, Baron Clow from my home league. Shout out ARD. Shelmy, I haven't done that the whole weekend, so we're at the last game.
There we go. Now we're going to do it.
Poof, Lock and Roll, and Oyu.
Very
and
nice.
who are skating officials?
Well, then I'm going to do shout-outs. We have Little Monster. We have Taro, who I have been told this is Taro's fifth. Blah, blah, blah. It would be great if I could speak. Taro's 500th game.
500 is too many.
I mean, that's bananas.
I don't know if I've played 500 games. I just retired after 16 years.
It is easier to get 500 games as an official than as a player.
I think
because you can officiate every weekend if you want to.
And all the games, yeah.
Exactly. Glitter is here. Quagga, who is from my home league. Slow Fox, Big Whoop, Les Croc, and Nat Safe for Work.
I'll shout out Quagga again because Quagga is also our tournament head official for Holy Duck 2 years in a row now.
Amazing.
He is amazing. Without him and he makes a holy sheet because it's called Holy Duck. So he makes a holy sheet. And that holy sheet, I live by it.
I love it.
That whole weekend, I would never get through it.
Well, and for those of you watching the stream, I can't imagine you haven't done this, but if you did not watch the games at Holy Duck a couple months ago,
you can still watch them on YouTube. And not only that, you can watch these games from this weekend. You can watch them through the Derby live stream channel. Not right away. It's going to be later. The thing is right now live, you can not only just enjoy this beautiful stream, but if you become a member, you'll be able to see this live stream right away.
Brilliant.
Otherwise, what Derby live stream is going to do after the live stream is out is going to be doing some cuts, making them into individual videos, and then releasing those. So subscribe. Make sure that you become a member if you can, because any interaction you can do with these videos would be great.
Absolutely.
Ooh, we've got Sisu coming through on the outside, really fighting through regardless of the contact that was being given by number 213.
And a star pass. That's alla bene.
Yeah, alla bene. That was a quick star pass too, quite sneaky.
Very good.
Sisu coming through to score some points, making sure they make some impact before they do. They get all the way through and
calling.
Yeah, they're calling it, but not before alla bene makes a little bit of penne.
Exactly.
3 points.
3, my goodness.
3 noodles.
Yeah. So this is the difficulty. You need to be so aware of where the other jammer is at all times if you want to keep them from scoring points.
Yeah, and you know, it might be inexperience that caused them to not call, or sometimes it's just you get really excited. You're like, I scored all the points, and your coach is like, hey, look at me.
Yeah. Well, and not everyone has a carrying voice like that bench coach from Dublin earlier.
Oh yes, that's it's the deep voice though.
Yeah. This is the difficulty. This is Tajin Tonic jamming against Black Widow, and there is quite some difficulty up at the front there with a would-be tripod from Lille, and that is Lille gaining lead. We have a multiplayer penalty being assessed on one of the Lille blockers, 2-3-3, meaning that Lille is going to be a little bit short-handed for the moment, and we'll see if that benefits Namur. It does, because there is Black Widow out just behind Tajin Tonic.
Very quickly as well, and so we'll see if that forces a call off for Tajin Tonic or not. Tajin Tonic has come through for his first scoring pass, now a second scoring pass with a sexy spin on the outside. I'm telling you, the sexy spins.
And a little side, what do you call it?
It was a nice little 180 actually.
Yeah.
So it wasn't the eagle, actually it was a nice little 180 because they went one foot to the other foot.
Nice.
So it's not as easy as it looks.
I mean, it doesn't look easy either, so that's saying something.
They make it look easy though.
Absolutely. That was a beautiful maneuver.
So 15-34 for Lille. We have 19 minutes left in this game and an official timeout.
Well, you're making the game very short. We're only in the first half.
19 minutes left in this half. So sorry. You know what? I'm starting to feel it. I'm
You
starting
want
to
your
feel a
beer.
bit tired.
I can imagine.
Yeah, I'm starting to feel a little bit tired, but that's okay because I've got Derby to watch, and that always motivates me and makes me feel better.
There we go. Yeah. And a little bit of a chat there from Lille's bench, coming up to, presumably, it looks like, deliver some strategy to those blockers.
Yeah, that's always good, but it does look like we have an official timeout so that our skating officials can have a discussion.
Yeah.
There's no official review, so it seems to me that there may be some sort of confusion in terms of a penalty that they want to assess, they didn't assess, they feel they need to assess, or that they feel is a little bit more serious, maybe.
Yeah, entirely possible.
Yeah, so sometimes they'll take the time to talk about it and go, okay, this penalty was assessed.
Yeah.
They did go to the box, but I feel like it was egregious. Egregious is this word they use in the rules. They. Who's they? The woof da da.
Yeah. It's as if the rules aren't made by skaters.
No, they are definitely made by skaters, and then argued by officials as if they're the ones who wrote them.
Well, I mean, I will say, as someone who, I split my time between announcing and officiating, and, I find it very rewarding seeing the way officials also contribute to the development and interpretation of the rules.
They certainly do. And I don't know if you know this, but our very own Micro from Namur, who was reffing a lot of the games this weekend, head reffing some of the games, he even is a member of an elected position on the officials board for the WFTDA.
Fantastic.
So we definitely have representation here.
Which is really great. I mean, one thing you can say about Belgian Derby, it's extremely high level.
It is. As witnessed this weekend.
My goodness, yes.
Oh, look at that. Okay, so we have Patine Smith and Le Boucheron pushing through. Patine Smith came up on the outside and was about to get through, but then 639 Blazing Girl was able to hit them out with a nice little shoulder hit.
Yeah, but lead has been called.
For Le Boucheron.
Yeah.
And They are only coming through now for their scoring pass with Patine Smith coming hot on their tail. You've got a nice little tripod being set up by Lille. So that means that Le Boucheron has to consider how to get through and get all the points.
That was amazing.
And they got every single one of them, and they're going to call it.
Yep.
It remains to be seen because you can still score points up to the 4th whistle of that first set of whistles. So that means that Patine Smith may have scored a point.
1 point. There we go.
There we go.
Yeah, and that is the art of it.
It may sound like I'm explaining things to my colleague here. I'm not. I'm explaining them to you on a stream just in case you don't know. Also, I'm just trying to make sure we talk.
You know, Exterminate is going to be blowing up your chat now.
Oh, you really think so?
Oh, she's been very active today.
Oh, okay. Well, she didn't talk during the Namur game, so yeah.
Oh, maybe she had to go and do something.
Maybe.
Look at that. That is lead for Lille, Hyrule Warrior, whose name you liked.
I love Hyrule Warrior's name because it's very nerdy. It's based on Zelda and the kingdom of Hyrule where warriors are created. And if you know what I'm talking about, you too are a nerd.
Oh, everyone's a nerd here. And that is Fanny or Bibiche heading into the pack. Look at that. And Hyrule Warrior coming around for a second scoring pass because that's already 4 points that Hyrule Warrior has put on the board for Lille.
And they do control the jam because they do have lead. That being said, Bibiche is coming. Had just went through for their own scoring pass. Yeah,
and that's 4 points for Bibiche that we're
and
seeing.
Another 4 points for Hyrule Warrior. Yeah, we're watching the hands of the scoreboard. The scoreboard cannot be trusted, but we trust our officials. We know that they know what they're doing.
Yes, we can occasionally be a little bit ahead of the board. Because we have a good view of the fingers.
And so Hyrule Warriors decided to continue to come in and score more points. And with an excellent shoulder hit on number 9-6. I'm sorry, I'm going to get this from you because I don't know all the Namur players' names. So 9-6 is Hufflepunch. Oh, Hufflepunch. That's such a cute name.
Love it.
I love it.
Yeah.
Hufflepuff, Hufflepunch. Why didn't I think of that?
Well, and you know, that ended up being a fairly penalty-heavy jam towards the end.
Now we've got one of each in the box.
Exactly. Starting off equally short-handed. Now, we haven't seen a lead from Namur in a little while, and this is another official timeout. And in this case, it looks like it's actually initiated by the jam timer, because the jam timer has called it and then walked briskly over to the score table. So this is probably a clock problem.
Well, I'm going to guess that it definitely is because if you look at the scoreboard, you can see that time that continues to go down.
Oh, my goodness. That's
even
not right.
though the jam timer called an official timeout.
And we're a minute and 24 seconds into lineup time, which is not supposed to happen.
It's not supposed to happen. So, but you know what? We talked about this in the last game. We use open source software.
Developed by Derby
players, used by Derby players and officials. It can bug sometime. That's fine. It's provided for free, and all of the debugging and all of the upgrades and everything has to be done by people who are still volunteering their time, which is amazing.
This is it. It's yet another layer of volunteerism in Derby.
Can you imagine if we had to buy a license for this?
Oh,
I know.
That would be so sad.
We wouldn't have it.
No,
we would be writing it in marker on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
And having just somebody walk around with the score. It's now 23 points, and then walking around like some sort of like the score girls in the MMA octagon, you know?
Yeah, whereas, at this point in time, what's amazing about the way the software is developed is not only are we seeing a live feed of that scoreboard on our feed.
I know.
But also
we have the PLT.
We have PLTs. And, well, I think they're still doing paper PLT in this game. But the Wrangler seems to be using a tablet.
Yeah, they're using a tablet. So they're doing ePLT for this game because otherwise, if they weren't doing it, we wouldn't have it live.
Oh, yeah, excellent point. Yeah, very good.
Yep, so it looks like the time has been set back. We're not at 16:06, we were at 16:32, and now that the jam has started. We have on the inside line Dynamite, who is lead jammer, being followed quickly by Tajin Tonique. The walls are spinning. They're starting to get themselves together, but everyone is advancing because the two jammers are too close together. Nobody wants to take a risk, and they'll just call it.
And the good news for Namur is they did manage to clear their side of the penalty box in that jam while leaving a seated blocker from Lille.
All right, well, that's a win.
Yeah.
Even if you didn't score a point, you score a blocker advantage in the next jam.
Exactly. Yeah, which is really nice. So there's some strategy going on there.
If you say so.
I like to give people the benefit of the doubt.
I think it might have been by accident. That being said, that doesn't mean they're not going to take advantage. Who do we have up here?
This is Patine Smith and Le Boucheron, and that is Le Boucheron taking lead for Namur. We have a penalty back in the pack as well, and that is the Namur pivot going off. Patine Smith is trying to make up the difference, but at this point in time, Le Boucheron is already finishing. We'll see if it was actually finished, but it looks like finishing a complete scoring pass.
It looks to me like 4, but Quagga says 2. He's
Oh,
doing the
he says 2.
bullhorns.
Interesting.
He's doing the bullhorns.
That is interesting.
You know what?
Yeah. He's
I
the
would.
boss.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
thing is I would like to say I don't know if I
Exactly.
that's not what I
It looked
saw
like
and
3 or
whatever.
4.
We
Yeah.
have no clue.
No,
we
exactly.
don't because we're not in a position to see it.
Absolutely.
We are looking at everything. Quagga is only looking
Yeah.
at that jammer and their hips,
And
so he knows
referees
best.
are authoritative. That's
Yeah.
Those are the rules.
Yeah, I'm a
Yeah.
bench coach, so
I
I don't
know.
find them intimidating at all.
You're a bench coach, and I'm an NSO. So, all right.
Sisu from Namur makes it through on the inside line like it's butter, really able to take advantage of their power and stability. Comes through and with Hyrule Warrior just behind them, getting their scoring pass and
beautiful.
calling it off immediately. So that was much crisper in terms of I get my points, I call it off right away.
Exactly.
They get their 4 points.
Yep.
Lille gets 0 points, so I love Hyrule Warrior's name, but unfortunately that doesn't get them any points. I mean, points in my heart.
Absolutely.
But so that makes it 37 to 47.
Yeah.
This is a darn close game.
You know, Namur is really creeping back up there with these, I mean, every jam where your opponent doesn't make points is a benefit to you.
So I think it's just becoming more construit, as we say.
Exactly. I like that. Dynamite versus Tajin Tonic.
Dynamite just pushing
look at that.
4 Pixel in the front just as hard as possible.
Oh,
then
look at that,
Pixel
though.
turns around, goes down, and takes the jammer in the shoulder at full force. So Tajin Tonic also took it like a champ.
Exactly.
Like that was hard
And
hit. I heard it.
We're about to see Dynamite's awareness.
Yep, and Dynamite did get through, got all 4 points, called it.
Beautiful.
Tajin Tonic, 0 points.
That
so
is
that's another
fantastic.
goose egg for that. Oh, no.
Hold the phone.
Oh, no, they
2
got
points.
2 points. They got 2 points.
So, Tajin Tonic, fast in, 3.
Right.
My
3
goodness.
points.
Fast
oh my
enough
gosh.
there to get in those points before the whistling was done.
You see, it just goes to show you that that's why I'm announcing and not officiating right now.
Well, I mean, I'm sure if you had been in the position of one of those jammer refs, you would have seen it.
Maybe, maybe not. I don't know.
Again,
I don't know.
I'm a fan of the benefit of the doubt.
And probably they were getting some help also from the outside because as we saw, Tajin
Absolutely.
Tonic came in through the outside, so those outside pack refs also do a great job of helping verify what hips were passed, how many points were scored, because you can't do it alone. As an official, you have to have a lot of support. You have to talk to each other. So it looks like we do have a team timeout. That team timeout was awarded to Lille. So Lille will lose one of their timeouts for this game.
Yeah.
As we know, there are 3. This is something that is funny. A lot of people didn't, a lot of people forget, or I don't know.
Okay.
So you have 3 timeouts for an entire game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm an official, I know that.
Right, you're an official, you know that. You're an NSO, you know that. But I get a lot of people going, no, I thought you got 3 per half. I'm like, no.
It would be too easy.
Your official review, you get 1 per half.
Yes.
And if you win it, you get another one
Exactly.
for that half.
Yep.
And then that's it.
Yeah.
Even if you win a second one, you can't have a third one.
Yeah.
I wish you
absolutely. The game would go on forever.
It would.
You know, this would be like cricket if we were doing that.
Oh, I love cricket.
Oh.
No, I don't.
No, who likes cricket? It goes on for days. I'm looking for people in the chat who like cricket to say, I like cricket.
So far, I've just got one person who says, go, 360, hip
Excellent.
kick.
No, I'm not sure we have hip kick playing. Oh, 360. Of course we do.
Yeah,
Yes.
360 hip kick
Yeah.
is one of the blockers from
Yeah,
the previous jam from Lille.
Indeed. Oh, look at this. While we weren't looking, Lille's jammer has had what looks like an equipment malfunction.
Is it? It looks like they've
or
had a rules malfunction. And
rules-
then,
yeah,
and then
and
on
then
top of
something.
that, there is something wrong with their skates.
Yeah, so we have a penalty and we have a skate being looked at in the box while Le Boucheron gets 4 points.
And we'll come around for another scoring pass as well. I'm taking
Look
a
at
look
that.
at Patine Smith in the box to kind of see what's
Yeah.
going on.
Well-
It looks like they're trying to figure out what's wrong with their skates.
Yeah, the
because-
wrist guards are coming off.
Yeah, the wrist guard is starting to come up, but the
Yeah.
wrist guard definitely has to be on before they get on the track.
Indeed.
So they have to make sure that that's okay.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm not an official in this game.
No.
I need to stop looking at that and look at what's
Indeed.
happening on the track.
Exactly. Well, unfortunately, what's happening on the track is a penalty. So.
Ah, yeah, it's a penalty by somebody, but Le Boucheron is
Oh, no,
one of the
look
things
at that.
that's going on is Le Boucheron was
Yeah.
skating off the track.
Yeah.
Also had a bit of a
little
looked
bit of a
like a
limp.
little bit of a it looked again like a little bit of a skate malfunction.
Yeah.
And then called off the jam.
Yeah.
So that gives 8 points to Namur.
And we
0
now have
points
a
to
1 point
Lille.
difference.
There's a 1 point difference.
This is fantastic. It's a nail biter.
It's way, way, way too close.
Yeah.
And you know what? I gotta say that sometimes you may
Oh, no.
watch the beginning. Oh no, we have
Another timeout. Yeah, this is another official timeout.
Oh no, it's over. It's okay. I see
Okay, short one.
Migmag who's coming back.
There
and
we go.
It's all right.
Yeah, so sometimes the jam timer will call an official timeout because they see that not everyone has gotten back into their
position.
spots in time. And then it's a very short one.
So we have Hyrule Warrior up against Black Widow. Hyrule Warrior has gotten through on the inside very quickly and has earned Lean Jammer status.
Oh,
in the
Star
meantime,
Pass coming.
Black Widow has made a star pass quite quickly to Sisu, who
Very
is
nice.
going to go through for their initial pass
Oh,
and try to
no.
come around and force the call.
Everyone's skates
it
are
looks like
falling
we
apart.
have another skate malfunction with La Rouste, who is still on the track,
Oh,
trying to get
no.
off the track on their knees. It's okay because at the
Yep.
same time, we have Sisu who's coming through for a scoring pass, and Hyrule Warrior who maybe didn't realize what was going on,
Yeah.
maybe did realize what was going on, but has
Look at
decided
that.
to call the jam. That's a 4-4
Yep.
jam, and so we're still at 1 point.
Yeah, amazing stuff though. Now, next up, we are seeing Tejin Tonek jamming for Lille and Fanny /
Look at
Bibiche.
the old school pivot line
That is
start.
impressive.
Oh, I love it when they do the little
Yeah,
lunge.
the skate back.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. So that's a nice tripod there at the front.
And that outside tiptoe by Tajin Tonique
Yep.
to get lead jammer.
Very
Lille has received yet another lead and has been doing quite well, even though Bibiche was able to get out quite quickly behind them.
Yep. And so this is going to be a case of, look at that, there's the 4 points for Lille. Here's Bibiche coming in. Here's the call off as instructed by the Lille
By
bench.
the bench.
Yeah.
So I think maybe just both teams are starting to get used to the
Yeah.
floor, because that's a thing. That's a
Absolutely.
thing.
Yeah.
Neither of, because all of the other teams had played at least once this weekend. So today
Yeah.
we had a little bit,
Yeah, more
I'd say,
awareness.
yeah, like a better setup
Yeah.
gameplay, because they knew what the floor was going to do to them.
Absolutely.
The first games that all of the teams played,
Yeah.
there was a lot falling.
Very much so.
So we have two teams who are playing for the first time this whole weekend on this floor, and they got to get used to it.
Yeah. Well, and they're doing a great job, you know. They are finally hitting their stride. And look at that. What we didn't notice there, there was a bit of a 4-point gain in that last jam.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, we did notice it,
We
but we
did
didn't
notice
comment
it.
on
We did. We said that they got 4 points,
Yeah.
but we didn't care.
No, that's
Talk
fair.
about the score.
We were busy with the floor
Time
and
out the
everyone
floor.
falling over. Yeah.
Exactly.
But we are at 53-58 now, because this most recent jam has been a 0-0. So now we can talk about the fact that Lille is pulling up that gap a little
Yeah,
bit more.
they are, but it's super close. I
Marginally.
mean, in roller
Oh, I
derby,
know.
5 points is
Yeah, it's
5 points
nothing.
might as well be 0 points.
Exactly.
You're 5 points ahead. You might as well be losing.
Yep.
No, don't do it. That's not
That's so
true.
cynical. My
I'm a
goodness.
bench coach.
Yeah, fair. Fair. I can tell.
Yeah. All right, so Dynamite pushing their way through the inside,
Ooh.
trying to get around
Illegal
the
contact.
wall, gets an illegal contact
Power
penalty
jam.
and goes to the box. Power jam for Tagine Tonique. We know Tagine Tonique from past jams.
Yeah.
Very fast. Not only do they have lead jammer status, they're very fast and they're very powerful. They can take and give a hit. They're asking for offense.
Oh my goodness, look at that.
In
though.
a directive way, and guess what? Perfect. They didn't touch anyone.
Yeah, that was gorgeous. Now we have a penalty there for one of the Lille blockers.
So they're also directing traffic, going,
Yeah.
"Hey, I want my offense now.
Yeah.
When I say, how I say," and
Oh, goodness.
it works out. It works out for them.
Here's the good news. Dynamite is coming back on track, and Lille is down 2 blockers at the moment, so it may be a slightly easier time for Dynamite to get through that pack, having more support from their own blockers.
Maybe we
and
do
less
have
opposition.
2319
Look at
Tomo
that.
who came up for some.
That was beautiful.
Yeah, for some nice chasing. I always like it when they don't give up.
Yes.
I don't care that you got through as long as there's still 20 feet. There's still hope.
Exactly. But in this case, Dynamite slid through that pack as if it wasn't even there. Of course, prevented from making a scoring pass.
So Tagine Tonique has decided to call off the jam since Dynamite was coming through for their scoring pass. So they got a couple more points.
11 points
11
in total.
points, so it's 11-0. And that does, now
Now
I'm
it makes a
comfortable
difference.
saying that they're pulling ahead a little bit. That being said, it's an 11-point jam. All you need on
Absolutely.
the other side is a 12-point
Yeah.
jam or a 14-point jam, and we're back where we started.
This is it. It really is. Well, the game is definitely not decided. That's for darn sure.
So we have Sisu against Hyrule Warrior. Hyrule Warrior pushing their way through number 95, who did some good blocking, was able to create just enough time, number 95 Sneaky, so that Hyrule Warrior could get Sisu could get lead jammer.
and
And
that's
so
the call.
Hyrule Warrior just being right behind them still meant that Sisu was in control.
Yep.
So they make sure that they call that off so that Hyrule Warrior doesn't get any points, which could have happened.
Now
It definitely
I'm
could have happened.
seeing an impending team timeout.
You are? Okay, you see
Absolutely.
somebody walking
Yeah, I
towards
see.
them. Okay, but
No
the
one
thing is,
being fielded from Namur, and bench from Namur coming up to the jam timer.
yeah, and this is one of the things that I love when bench coaches also come up and stand next to the jam timer and say, "I'm going to call a timeout at 5 seconds," and you just stand there
Yeah.
and you watch, and they say 5 seconds, and then you call your timeout.
You and I have done this before together. When I was
Together
jam
we
timing
have.
and you were benching. We have a nice chat and we wait for the 5 seconds.
Exactly, and I love it, and it's a great way to extend also the amount of time that your skaters get to rest.
Yeah, you maximize your break. Yep.
So that's obviously what they're doing. You know, even though Namur C has a lot of skaters over there, they also had to call in some Namur B skaters today.
Yeah, we can do a little call out to those.
Yeah, so that's Goldilocks and Belzébuth. They're from Namur B, from the Parpin.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, they had to call in reinforcement because otherwise they weren't going to make it.
Yeah, because we have 3 players who fell out and were unable to join today. And
So you call in the reinforcements.
exactly.
You know?
I saw that last weekend at a very different game, at a mixed game in a smaller sort of setting, where a player had to be called in from another league in support.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
Because one team was very diminished by injuries and illness.
Yeah, well, that happens. And you know what? In the roller derby community, we are willing to do that.
Exactly.
We have Patine Smith and Le Boucheron. I don't know if you saw that, but Patine Smith went in to try and get through. And number of 4224, that's Pixel. Big hits.
Take a look at that, though. Le Boucheron had lead, but Patine Smith was ahead. So Le
I'm
Boucheron
wondering,
calls it.
so they get out at about the same time, right?
Exactly.
Okay. So that means just one of them had cleared all 4 of those hips before the other one.
Just in advance.
Just a tiny bit longer.
Yeah, and one thing we've seen a few times this weekend, which I really enjoy seeing, is someone does make lead, and then they get reabsorbed by the pack.
Oh, yes.
And that is so fun.
That happened in the last game to Gilbert, and I did not understand how they were lead.
Yeah, and still stuck in
and
that
still
pack.
stuck.
Yeah, it's because they've been out and they've been pulled back in.
Then they just got sucked back
Yeah, the vortex. But look at this. This is Bibiche once again with lead
On the
behind
outside.
Hyrule Warrior.
Hyrule Warrior got through on the inside.
Yeah, Bibiche
So
calls
Bibiche
it.
is like, I'm calling it. We're not going to play this game.
Exactly.
Again.
Second one in a row.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's twice in a row, but
It's neck and neck, though.
yeah, it's a very close game. This
Yeah.
is obviously very close in level. And when it's
Exactly.
very close in level, guess what? It gets really stressful out there on the track. So,
yeah.
and you sweat more and you work harder and you're trying to figure out what you're supposed to do and how you're supposed to do
an
it.
official review.
Oh, an official review from Lille. And I know it's an official review from Lille because the lead bench coach skipped out to the jam
Nice
timer
little
like it
jog.
was some sort of, it was a weird jog, though. It wasn't a, he
mean,
pranced out there.
Looks happy.
Yes, I'm very happy because I believe I have seen a penalty that you, the officials, did not see.
Exactly, and that is the game there.
Isn't it great when you think you're right, but then you tell the officials, I think you did not see this penalty. I think I am right. And then they come back and they go, I disagree with you. Go back to your bench.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do about it.
I do find that quite a lot of people in Derby think that they're right, in direct conflict with other people who think that they're right.
Ah, yes. Yes, this would be the battle of the egos, actually.
Exactly.
And it's definitely that between bench coaches and officials. It's the battle of the egos.
What's worse is when you have bench coaches who have been officials.
Well, that's my problem.
Oh, yeah.
And also, you know that I am bench coach Team Belgium with Caps Lock.
Who is also an official.
Who is also an official.
Yeah.
And on purpose, I used her official's name.
I heard.
Yeah,
yes.
because actually on the bench she's Shelock. But
exactly.
as an official, her name is Caps Lock, and for sure that makes her some interesting things. And if she tells me to take an official review, I take an official review.
Absolutely.
I'm like, just tell me what it is. I'm going.
Yeah.
100% trust.
Well, hey, while we're here, shall we do some sponsors? We haven't
Let's talk
touched
about
the
them.
sponsors yet this game.
Let's talk about them. I'll start off here
be my
with the
guest.
Wallonie Infrastructure et la Région Wallonne, which granted an award for Skate Around to be able to organize the event. Then the city of Namur was involved in hiring out the Tabora Hall, this beautiful hall that we are in with these huge stands and everything.
Fantastic hall.
And would you like to go on with the next one?
Kalias, bandage specialist and medical equipment hire. And Xavier Gillet, professional in plumbing, ventilation, and heating. Without sponsors, we could not organize events like this.
We are absolutely nothing without our sponsors. And you'll notice that, a lot of the sponsors that we have are actually part of the city. And that makes sense because Namur represents the city. I mean, they go out in a lot of countries, like all over Europe, representing the city of Namur. At a large scale. And not only that, the city of Namur is being represented right here by an international tournament with Helsinki, Finland, with Lille, France, with Amiens, France, with Dublin, Ireland. To have all of these people come
And
here to
Zurich.
this city. And
Don't
Zurich.
forget Zurich.
Don't forget Zurich. Don't forget Switzerland.
All the way from Switzerland. All right, we are back on. This is Sisu jamming for Numerici, but Tajin Tonic gaining lead for Lille. And a really great hit and a really great recovery.
An excellent recovery. Number 17 did something I've never seen done. Was it to just actually just pick up your feet as much as you can, stay in bounds. And
So good.
It was wonderful.
But look at that. Also 17 came up on the inside as Tajin Tonic was calling. So let's see if that it did not result in points. That's a pity, because it was a beautiful maneuver.
It was a great maneuver. Alors déjà, je suis en train de regarder les commentaires et on a eu une demande de faire annoncer au moins un jam ou deux en français. Est-ce que tu veux le faire?
Oh,
ouais, c'est moi qui vais le faire.
Yeah, go on.
D'accord. Est-ce que c'est Trinity? Comment tu sais que je parle français? Est-ce que tu as déjà entendu le reste sur le stream, hein? Parce que j'ai un bon accent américain. Alors de toute façon, nous avons Hyrule Warrior et le Boucheron qui se mettent sur le track. Hyrule Warrior à l'intérieur qui gagne le lead jam, suivi étroitement par le Boucheron. Les deux suivis d'un envie d'arriver directement dans le pack et scorer les points. Et c'est exactement ce qui va se passer. Il semble que Hyrule Warrior a pu marquer les points que Yel a voulu marquer. Est-ce que c'était plus que Namur? Parce que Namur a aussi impacté le mur et a pu passer quelques hanches. Ouais, et on voit c'est 3 points pour Lille et 1 point pour Namur. Et on a aussi Nono Bricolo qui dit « Allez Lille, Élise, Chiara, allez les baronnes !» Allez, c'est bon, hein. De toute façon, vous savez que Namur, c'est une équipe francophone. Lille, nos petites sœurs et sœurettes et parents en fait de la Belgique en France, c'est ce que je disais avant. Alors du coup, on est vraiment famille, on est bien entre nous. Pendant ce jam, on a Bibiche, notre petite Bibiche qui a pu gagner le lead avec Patine Smith qui était juste derrière avec un petit star stash pour pouvoir percer le mur. Fanny, où notre Bibiche a pu passer tout le monde, elle marque les points, elle colle le jam, comme ça elle a tout gagné comme elle veut. Alors 4 points pour Namur, 75 points, je dis 75 pour Lille, hein, parce que normalement on dit 75. Alors 58 à 75 pour Lille, c'est vraiment pas un grand écart.
Lille c'est bilingue, oui.
Français
et
flamand. Non, parce que Lille c'est en France. Alors techniquement non, mais oui, parce que ça, en honneur, Lille fait partie de la Belgique. Mais techniquement, Lille ne fait pas partie de la Belgique.
So c'est monolingue français.
Oui, c'est ça. On a Tajine Tonic qui a pu percer l'intérieur de la ligne namuroise pour gagner le lead. Mais derrière, nous avons Goldilocks qui est aussi jammereuse pour la baie, qui suit avec un sourire, toujours un sourire sur son visage, et force le col. Parce que, force le col, mais pas avant les 2 points marqués de Lille. Mais quand même, Goldilocks, malgré son sourire, est très, très dangereuse. Très dangereuse.
Well, and beautiful, elegant skating there from Goldilocks as well. You can really see the technique.
Alors du coup, ça c'est quelque chose que j'ai reçu aussi depuis Lille quand je leur ai envoyé un formulaire. C'est leur cri de guerre, un dash. Ensemble, on communique. Alors du coup, c'est quelque chose que j'ai vu en fait déjà dans le formulaire. Je ne sais pas si c'est vraiment votre cri de guerre ou pas, mais de toute façon, c'est quelque chose qu'on veut communiquer aux joueuses de Lille, hein. Ensemble et on communique, c'est comme ça qu'on va réussir et on est à la fin de la première mi-temps, le score 58 à 77 ou 77, so we should switch into English
exactly.
To go ahead and finish out.
You do it in French and I'll throw in the English. So indeed we are at the end of this first period with Namur currently on 58 points and Lille with 77.
Welcome back to the last half of the day.
Yeah, and we are getting ready in a little bit over a minute and 15 seconds to have the second half of this, very close Namur versus Lille game.
Very close game, and they are really fighting for it. So whenever there's a close game, you're going to have a ton of people working really hard to get through. We have our penalties on the screen for you. As you can see, Namur, not a lot of penalties.
No. Most penalties any individual player has is 2, and those are Goldilocks and Pixel. And I have been told, by the way, that if Susu makes 1 or fewer direction penalties, Toxic Lady will buy them a beer.
Oh, okay.
So they're on track.
They're on track for that. They're about to get a free beer if they can do that. All right. And we've got the penalties for Lille on the board. Hip Kick does have 3 penalties, so that's number 360. We got a nice little shout out for them. But other than that, not a lot of penalties. So it looks pretty equal.
Yeah. Clean game
from
so
one
far.
side to the other.
Yeah, so it's looking good. And going into the second half, we will see if Namur has regrouped a little bit. This is, after all, their floor, so that's the good news for them.
Yeah, but you know what? It's all about the second half right now, because anything could happen when you only have a 19-point difference.
Yes.
And we see that Patine Smith is definitely aware of the fact that they need to get through as fast as possible. They come through on the outside, whereas Sisu makes their way through on the inside. But at the same time, Patine is coming in on the outside on 1 foot to try and score points on their scoring pass, and is able to score all 4.
And what we're talking about in the last half, the importance of calling it off just as soon as you've collected your points.
As soon as you've collected your points, or as soon as somebody tells you to
Very true.
call it off.
Says the bench coach.
Says the bench coach, look, my voice goes completely whenever I bench coach a game, so
I can imagine.
I hate screaming and nobody being able to hear me and not knowing what I'm saying.
Yeah, very fair. All right, so this is Dynam Hit against Tajin Tonic for Namur and Lille respectively. And we can see Dynam Hit towards the front of that pack, although as I said that, the pack totally changed. Dynam Hit got a penalty and Tajin Tonic got lead.
So Tajin Tonic is lead. They're controlling this jam. We can see an offense that is loading up on the inside. Tajin Tonic, as they do, directing traffic, making sure that they get the offense that they want so they can get their 4 points as soon as they possibly can.
Which they have just achieved. So that is 4 points on the board already. Well, Dynam Hit just now standing up in the penalty box. So Tajin Tonic has been making very good use of this power jam scenario already.
Well, here comes Dynamite out of the penalty box right in front of Tajin Tonic. So I don't know if it's a strategy or if it's just I like to come in front of the...
Did you see that? Tajin Tonic looks at the bench, does a little sort of shruggy, what do you want me to do?
Gets their points and calls it off.
Exactly, which should be 12. Oh, no.
9.
Oh, no.
They only got 1 point.
There we go.
But Dynamite was not able to get any points, so it was very well timed. So again, that's the thing about watching your bench, because the bench will go, I only want you to get 1 point and then call it.
Exactly.
So listen to them and do as they say. There's usually some sort of reason behind it.
Exactly. Yeah, and with, I mean, what we have to remember in Derby is, you know, you have a roster of potentially 15 players, but at any given moment, 5 different people are on that track.
Goldilocks, number 3, came through on the outside, hitting with their shoulder, taking one of the Lille Baron down, but unfortunately it just wasn't enough. Hyrule Warrior was able to get lead on the inside, is coming around for their scoring pass, and Goldilocks is still struggling through the front of the pack.
That was such a nice tripod at the back there, and then Hyrule Warrior just decimated it.
Well, they juked really well. They juked and they faked them out, and the whole wall went, what?
Exactly. Really great to see. And so that is another Lille 4 points, Namur 0 points. Now, at this stage, we do have a bit of error showing between these two teams. It's Namur 58, Lille 94. So again, not impossible to make that up.
No, in 2 gyms that could go away. But
so 2 very good gyms.
Yeah, so that's the thing, is we're never going to predict the end of the game. We never know what's going to happen.
Absolutely.
But yeah, we are seeing a little bit more room between between the scores.
Which could change the way they strategize.
As Patine Smith is pushing themselves through the inside front.
And it's another power jam there for Lille.
Bazin Girl goes to the box. I think that's the first time we've seen Bazin Girl jam this, this game.
I believe so, and slightly brief for the moment. We'll see what Patine Smith does when Bazin Girl returns to the track.
Well, for the moment, they're just going to get their points and keep going. And it looks like they're actually going to call it and freeze Bazin Girl in the penalty box.
Aiming for a power start. And also with 1 blocker down as a Huffle Punch. A blocker for Namur heads to the box as well to join Bazin Girl.
Yeah, really cute name. Not so cute to be in the penalty box.
Nope.
But again, Bazin Girl doesn't have to worry about whether or not they get a beer.
No.
It's Sisu who has to worry about that.
Exactly. Sisu and Turbo Waffle.
Turbo Waffle
is in for a plush frog if they have fewer than 3 penalties.
Nice.
Yeah. And that is, all right, 2-4-2-4 to Gin Tonic getting lead. I mean, fair enough. There is not another jammer out there. Yeah.
But here comes Bazin Girl out of the penalty box quite quickly, as a matter of fact.
Absolutely.
Not afraid to go in full speed.
No, and very much challenging that wall at the back and eventually just juking around it. Ooh, look at that.
Nice, strong hit from number 9-8.
Yeah, that is...
Les Artichokes. Les Artichokes, it's a play on artichoke.
Yeah.
L'artichaut.
Cute name.
L'artichoke.
I mean, it almost works better in English than French.
It's cute.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, the play on words in French is a big, big thing.
Fair. Well, all of Derby loves a pun.
Yeah, we do love a pun. We're very punny people.
Okay. The Big Whoop has just done, Big Whoop, one of the outside pack referees, has just done a big sort of triumphant gesture. Unclear why, but it was nice. Maybe he got tired of watching the jammer refs putting their arms up and said, I want
I
in
want
on
to put
that.
my arms up too. And maybe it was a good stretch, or maybe it was just to celebrate something awesome that one of their
Very possible.
outside pack ref colleagues have done.
Well, I always say, I think many officials always say, the officials are the team that always wins.
We have number 3, that is Hyrule Warrior, who came through on the inside, and then you had number 9-6 Huffle Punch. It gave them a nice big hit. I'm sorry, not number 9-6. It was 9-5 Sneaky. And guess what? Bibiche gets through and gets lead.
Okay, but look at that. That is a double penalty for 370 because they exited the track unsafely. So in addition to their original penalty, they get an illegal procedure for an unsafe exit.
Nice job. Number 17 Sisu was able to, not once, but twice hit the jammer out, preventing them from getting all the way through. It gives more time for Bibiche to come through and get another scoring pass. So the thing is they have achieved 2 scoring passes. They're now ahead by 4 points.
Looking at the bench.
They're looking at their bench.
Yep, and calling.
Exactly.
Beautiful.
As you should. Take notes. Take notes.
But I mean, that's a really nice thing to see. You know, Bibiche left the pack on the far corner. And then by the time they were at this next corner closest to our table, which is also closest to their bench, they're in a position to see what their coach wants from them.
Yeah. I got a little comment here from Connor. Absolutely not. We would never shame anybody who goes to the penalty box. We're actually watching to see if somebody's going to get rewarded or not. So that's why we're focusing on it, because there were some rewards that were promised. It's a bit of a game that the Namur coaches are playing with some of those players. So it's a little bit of color that we can add, but absolutely no shame. It's a part of the game.
Absolutely.
For sure, everybody gets penalties at some point or another, usually because they're just playing. They're just doing the best that they can.
Yeah, penalties exist because we want a safe game that everyone can play fairly.
Yeah. And it's not really a shameful thing to go to the penalty box. It's just a thing that you have to do. Usually I talk about it as being a time for you to go and reflect on what you've done, take a sip of water, have a bit of a breath, and then come back in renewed, refreshed, and ready to go again.
Absolutely.
We do want clean games, though, because that's always good for everybody. But, you know, if that was possible, we wouldn't have a penalty box. We wouldn't have officials.
Oh, we'd still need officials.
Someone
needs to call lead.
Somebody needs to call
Someone needs to count the points.
I mean, we could do it like Ultimate Frisbee, where we ref ourselves. It really works for them. Yeah. I'm amazed.
Yeah,
and then they have a little meeting afterward. So we have Dynamite for Namur with Tajin Tonic coming up the inside as they do, forcing their way through. An excellent work by Tajin Tonic, but in the inside line, we've got Dynamite, who was able to come through unbothered. Just would like to note that Dynamite really does seem unbothered. every time they come through for their points, as they're doing now. Ooh, Tajin Tonic, as I said before, little package, big power. Tajin Tonic, even though there was quite a good wall established, comes in with just enough power, is able to legally hit that blocker on the side and take them all the way down. So Tajin Tonic is able to go through for a scoring pass, whereas Dynamite did something naughty for which we have not the information and is going to go have a reflective moment in the penalty box. No shame. Meanwhile, Tajin Tonic is definitely scoring, making the most of this time that Dynamite is taken to reflect, to be able to score as many points as she can. Again, as they can, directing traffic to get the excellent inside corner offense that just cleared everyone, allowing Tagine Tonic to go through with without touching anybody. For a second there, it seemed that Tagine Tonic seemed to think that they were lead and may have skated out of bounds. I don't know. I don't have all the information. Again, I am not a referee for this game, so I don't know.
But this is now a power jam.
But they have gone to the penalty box, and so that means that with Dynamite coming back in, they now have another 10 seconds to try and score points because they are on scoring passes. I do see also our outside pack refs, both in back and in front, signaling a cut penalty, and that is on number 170. So because it's a cut penalty, it's okay. They can still get their reward, right?
Exactly.
Okay. Just making
they will
sure.
still get their beer.
I want everyone to get presents. That's what's most important to me.
You know, the present is having the game, challenging yourself, and having a great time with your teammates. So everyone will get a present.
Yes, absolutely, because they get to play derby. They got to be here on this amazing weekends. For sure, they got to be a part of, if you saw the games prior to that, some really high-level derby was played in this hall this weekend. Excellent volunteers. There were over 60 volunteers doing things like catering, setting up everything, making sure everything was clean, running things back and forth. I'd like to give a huge shout out to our production team here.
Absolutely, doing
amazing
work.
Look at the stream.
Yeah.
Look at the camera angles. This is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, we have 3 fixed cameras in this hall, and then there's also this wonderful setup with a cell phone camera.
Oh yeah, that's fun too.
So good.
Yeah, but not to mention the fact that we also have like production that's actually over here, like switching your views, making sure that you get to see all the action in all of its glory.
Yeah.
You know, because sometimes you've got a stream where you've got a one camera set up in the corner and that's all you get.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I know in my home league we have a webcam clipped on to one of those sort of tennis umpire chairs, and that streams without an announcer. So this is glorious.
So I want to go ahead and give a shout out to Martina Weiss. Thank you so much for your support for Derby Livestream. Actually, you know, this is provided to you at a very high quality for nothing. We don't actually ask for you to pay for anything, but we would love it if you would show your support by giving. If you want to subscribe to the channel, it's 99 cents a month. If you would like to give a super chat or a super thanks.
And we've had some of those today.
Yeah, that's just a one-time, I really liked this, and I think you deserve a little bit of extra, you know, money for your troubles, because considering the huge production value that you've got in front of you, it's definitely worth it.
Yeah.
I think I paid something like $60 to watch Champs online,
really?
and I bought the stream even though I was there.
Okay.
Because I was there, I paid a lot more for my tickets to go to Champs.
Very
I'll
fair.
tell you what, because I went to the U.S., I went to Portland, which is not a cheap city as well.
No, that's a hike.
Yeah. And then also for my child as well. So we went together, had a great time, went to Voodoo Donuts. I had one of the Voodoo Donuts. Oh my God, Voodoo Donuts. If you don't know Voodoo Donuts, look, shout out to Voodoo Donuts. I think you should sponsor Roller Derby because Roller Derby loves you. They are a vegan
that's nice.
donut place in Portland. They also have them in Austin, Texas, which is where I'm from. Voodoo Donuts is these awesome, amazing, huge vegan donuts.
Brilliant.
And they have their actual voodoo donut. It looks like a voodoo doll.
Oh, cute.
And the thing is they give you a little straight pretzel, and you can poke it into the voodoo doll, and then the filling is like a raspberry filling, and it comes spilling out.
Okay.
It's really gruesome, but also delicious.
Oh my goodness.
It's delicious.
Well, now we know.
Yeah.
That is an image there.
I'm sorry.
No, don't worry. I mean, look, I love vegan donuts.
All that to say that you're getting the same production quality here today
for free.
For free that you would have gotten from Global Champs.
Yeah.
And also, not only that, you will be able to rewatch these games afterwards, not directly afterwards. But if you subscribe today, you can rewatch this stream.
That's amazing.
Right away. But if you're not a member, then you will have to wait a little bit, because what's going to happen is behind the scenes, they're going to cut them into individual games and then put those on YouTube. So it's also still a good idea. If you subscribe, then you'll be the first one to get those notifications. You'll be the first one to get that information.
And an actual human who's going to be very tired after this weekend is going to be doing that. He's been sitting patiently next to us all weekend.
Making sure that we look and sound stupendous.
Yeah, so this is Sarah jamming for Namur. I don't think we've seen Sarah jamming yet in this half, at least.
For Sarah, this is the first time that they're jamming. Hyrule Warrior, it's not the first time. They came in through the inside, were able to give a big hit to one of the blockers that was trying to keep them down. That blocker went down on the inside, took out one of the jam refs. Normally, you know, we don't encourage skaters to take out refs, but jam refs know the danger that they are, you know, living by being skating around the inside. There's a lot of obstacles sometimes. So.
Absolutely. Well, and I mean, this is one of those things where sometimes we do actually see expulsions. I saw an expulsion last week for hitting a ref.
But that won't happen on the inside. It was unavoidable.
Yeah,
it was unavoidable.
And this is always the criterion for that expulsion. Is it avoidable?
Yeah.
If it's an avoidable hit, then it becomes an expulsion. If it's unavoidable, then we just say, this is derby.
This is derby. It happens. And the thing is that contact, it's not just for the skaters. It's also for the skating officials. It's always possible.
It's possible, certainly.
Oh, Goldilocks on the inside line. I saw them do that on the Namur B game, and I got to tell you, it's their favorite place to go.
I just want to pick up on that one, sorry, because it's certainly possible, but referees do not buy into the game for full contact.
No.
And let's make that very clear.
That's not what they're there for, but they do understand that it's possible. I do also know a lot of skating officials who also wear mouth guards because they know that the danger exists.
Certainly the danger. Sorry, I'm as an official.
Yeah, I know.
I have really strong feelings about the importance of avoidability and that principle.
Yeah, and the principle of avoidability is really key. So, you know, just making sure that we're not doing anything that we could avoid. If we can avoid hurting somebody, we definitely try to do that.
Yeah.
So 79 to 128 for Lille. Dynamite again on the outs. I'm sorry. Dynamite for Namur is coming up through the middle behind Tajin Tonic on the outside this time. So they were coming in through the inside line, decided to change their tactic. Definitely worked for them. And then they're able to sneak through on the inside again. Lots of force, lots of confidence, all 4 points, no points for Namur. It's getting very surgical now. It's getting really nice. Ooh, Mek, thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for giving your super chat, because it really does make these streams possible.
And so this has the look of being a Lille team timeout coming, because Lille is not fielding anyone. Yep, there we go.
Your predictive skills are unquestionable.
I am often a jam timer.
So you know where to look and what to look for.
It's a scenario I know well. If we don't see anyone coming onto the track for a particular team, chances are very good it's a timeout.
This jam timer in particular is Migmag Tigres, a very experienced NSO all over Europe, as you may know. Also, I used to skate with her in Paris.
Very nice.
Yeah. We have both been around Derby a very, very long time.
There's a lot of people at this tournament who have been around for a goodly while.
Yeah,
People saying 15 years.
15 years, 16 years for me.
Exactly.
Yep.
So, and it's not such an old sport, so 15 or 16 years really means something in Derby.
Yeah, because the sport itself is only about 25 years old. It's easy actually to figure out because it was founded in 2000, and then the WFTDA was founded in 2001.
There we go.
So, only 25 years.
It's
a very young
history lesson.
Oh, I got Derby history lessons for you.
I can imagine.
I'm old.
Well, and I mean, if you come from Texas, you come from...
I come from the home of the WFTDA where it was first started. In Austin, Texas.
So big deal.
I think so. I love those people.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, sorry, my voice, I have resting sarcastic voice.
Oh, okay.
So this is actually me saying, no, that's a big deal.
All right, and give us the jammers for this next jam.
So this is Le Boucheron jamming against Patine Smith. And something, oh no, someone has lost their helmet cover. And,
We've got a lost helmet
and
cover.
is realizing it now.
We've got Boucheron,
so
who is the jammer
Patine
for
Smith
Namur. It's Patine Smith,
has
but
realized.
Namur's jammer is also in the box. But here's the thing, it was an initial pass. So
Indeed.
you don't have to have your helmet cover on.
Well, I think
In
what
the
we're
initial
about to
pass,
see,
you know.
we're about to see no lead, I believe.
True, you can't have lead, but you
exactly.
still get to. They still get to get points.
But this means that Le Boucheron,
that means the lead is open. But no, they got a penalty in this jam.
In this jam?
Yeah.
I thought they started in the box.
They got it in this jam, so that means
2-minute jam.
2-minute jam.
Yeah, or as I like to say, the jam timer's jam.
Yes, the jam timer's jam. That's excellent. So that means that Mi'kmaq will be in control of when this jam ends and no one else.
Exactly.
That being said, given that, there's going to be a lot of fight going on the track. Le Boucheron is coming through for another scoring pass behind Patine Smith, who is coming in for a third scoring pass.
So it's looking very good for Patine Smith.
On the outside as well, quite easily. We've got a lot of good hits, a lot of people falling, but that's just because of the strength and the will behind those hits.
And Le Boucheron heading back to the penalty box with less than 30 seconds on the clock, which means
I only
that,
see an illegal procedure on there, so I don't know what it was.
Well, if you're only seeing an illegal procedure, then it probably relates to a star pass.
Maybe
it's
they still have it on their
pass. Yeah, they probably attempted it and did something illegal in the attempt and then had to take it back from the pivot, because normally an illegal procedure is assessed for a star pass violation.
Number 9-5 was going to the ground after their own, one of their own blockers pushed them quite hard. I think it was just to make sure to try and push them into the way of Patine Smith, who was going through for yet another scoring pass. So, you know, number 9-5 is sneaky, and, you know, you can't be sneaky if your friends use you for bowling.
No, indeed.
All right, we're looking at the penalty board. You see Namur, we have Le Boucheron on 4 penalties.
Yep.
And so far, Sisu has still not gotten
more than one direction.
More than one direction. So,
yeah,
the beer is still on the table.
Absolutely. Yeah, and this is number 2424, Tagine Tonic, gaining lead for Lille, while Le Boucheron continues to sit in that penalty box. So it's looking good for Tagine Tonic.
Tagine Tonic takes advantage of these things because we've seen how they direct traffic with their blockers, making sure that they get, you know, as much offense as possible at the right time. They time it.
Look at that. That's a smart move there.
They called it off while Le Boucheron was standing. So that means Le Boucheron has less than 10 seconds in the penalty box, but it does give the advantage of Lille to be able to start the next jam in a power start situation. Power start situations for me are always interesting because you got 10 seconds.
Yeah. In this case,
Less.
Yeah.
Well, but I mean,
not always, right?
Not always. Sometimes you can freeze them with longer.
Start.
Yeah, normally you don't, but yeah, you can.
Very nearly.
In a lot of these situations, you have that jammer standing. The jammer standing for less than, if they're standing, it's less than 10 seconds. It's
absolutely.
It's 9 seconds or something like that, because they say stand at 10.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
So that means that this will give a 10-second opportunity for Les Barons to try and create a lead immediately, because that's the opportunity they have.
Absolutely.
They're not going to be able to do a lot of offense after that. They got to go ahead and set up because the other jammer is going to be coming out of the box.
And in some of the games we've seen earlier in the weekend, many times we had lead taken within those first 10 seconds. That's been less the case in this particular game, but that doesn't mean it can't happen. So there's still a good chance to get out in front before Le Boucheron arrives back on track.
There is a very good chance, and I'm just interested to see what kind of technique or strategy Lille is going to use on these power starts, because power starts they're not easy.
Yeah.
You're like, I got to do something, I got to do it fast, and I got to set it up. So it looks like they're going to take the front. 5 seconds have been called.
Yeah. And what's interesting here is they did take a team timeout. So you can imagine that they may have been strategizing for this power start.
And so we have Zezani, who is jamming for the first time for Lille, coming through the middle.
Goodness. So whatever was planned, it hasn't panned out because that is Le Boucheron getting back on track and taking lead in one fell swoop.
And Zizani coming in the
Goodness.
back, trying to lower themselves maybe a little bit too much, and ended up with a bit of a tumble. I wouldn't say it's a tumble. I think it was a controlled descent.
Exactly.
Yeah, but ends up at the end of the day, neither of them scored any points.
Oh, hold on.
Oh,
There's
no,
one
there's
point.
1 point for Namur.
Yeah, because Le Boucheron also took a little bit of a tumble in that case, but
Yeah.
it appears that they did manage to pass one person.
Ah, okay,
before
and so
they
that
fell
was
down.
information communicated from the outside, yes.
Nice.
Nice, very good.
Yeah, and this is Turbo Waffle jamming against Tajin Tonic. In this case, we see Sisu there at the front trying to control the Lille tripod and, well, helping Turbo Waffle, who is also the captain of Namur, get out and get lead.
Nice, and it seems like they, Namur, or at least this wall with Namur, has figured out a little bit how to get themselves together and create a bit more of a barrier for Tajin Tonic. So Turbo Waffle has gone through for their scoring pass. Looks towards their bench, asking if they should call it, but actually not asking, just does it. And comes off the track quite pleased with themselves.
Yeah, I mean,
and I
4
agree.
points.
4-0.
Yeah.
Against Tajin Tonic, who has been scoring a lot of points for Lille.
Absolutely. Tajin Tonic has been doing some amazing jamming.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting, and especially getting through that inside line, controlling the offense, making sure it's timed correctly. Like, that's a pretty strategic player who is not just, you know, as we say, a stupid animal who skates fast and turns left.
Sorry, do people say that?
I say that.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I've never heard that before.
Oh, you haven't been around me enough. Patine
Well.
Smith, who patines up the inside line with Goldilocks just behind. It looks like they're calling for their offense as well as one of their blockers gets out of the penalty box.
Oh, look at that recycle.
And so number 3, Patine Smith is in control, does decide to call it before Goldilocks can pass any hips. They've gotten 2 points to Namur 0.
Absolutely.
So right now we do definitely have the score decisively setting up in Lille's favor, 157-86. We've got 9 minutes, 20 seconds roughly left in the last half.
Yeah.
So it is a big gap. I'm never ever going to say that anything is done because who knows?
Of course not. It is
Who knows?
not impossible to get 71 points in 9 minutes.
It really isn't.
Yeah, it's just difficult.
It's just really tough.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. That is
look at that.
beautiful work.
Yeah, and 3-3, Boucheron hit them out at the top of the apex, and then they were
look at that.
brought back by number 7-3, Bibiche.
Yeah.
So we've got some nice defense going on.
Yeah, and Dynam Hit now heading towards the back of that pack to begin a first scoring pass.
While Alabene, who was coming up against some hard walls, had a bit of trouble that ended in a penalty.
Yeah, and look at this communication there. So we have Dynam Hit taking a look at the bench. The bench is saying, no, keep going.
I'm sure it's a
power jam.
Yeah, it's a power jam, but they also want to figure out whether or not they want to freeze this jammer. So every time Dynamite comes around, they're going to look at their bench to decide, you know, to figure out whether or not that's something they want to do strategically. Since Alabene is already standing and, is coming back on the track, that is not the strategy they're going to use.
No.
They're going to take advantage of that momentum and continue to score points.
Yeah, and we will see where they decide to stop. And look at that. So that is Dynam Hit challenging that very solid and very strategic Lille wall.
Got a really big hit from 1616 Zezani. Zezani, who also filled out my form and said that their name is actually for they, so ze, like the French pronunciation for they, and Zani, like
Zany.
like Zani on the, but it's because they always make it Zani on the track.
Very nice.
So their name is Zezani, which is really cute because it's 2 Z's and it sounds really fun. It's fun to say.
Yeah, and now we have Sarah lining up for Namur and Tajin Tonic for Lille.
Now, remember when I said anything could happen? That last jam, 12 points for Namur, 98 to 157.
Brilliant.
That's less of a difference now.
Absolutely.
That being said, Tagine Tonic just did what Tagine Tonic does. Up the inside line, hits a person, isn't phased, keeps going.
But take a
lead
look
jammer.
at that. 4-6-1 there. Sarah getting out of that pack already as well. So giving Tagine Tonic a bit of trouble there by, well, getting ready to hit the back of that pack. And Tagine Tonic not being 100% aware, it looks like, of the fact that Sarah is in there getting ready to make points.
That's gorgeous, and I gotta say it. So we had number 9-6, Huffle Punch, go actually pull up one of the opposing skaters that got hit and went down, put their hand out and help them get up and get back on the track mid-jam.
So nice.
That's derby, y'all.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a 4-7 jam, so 4 points Namur, 7 points Lille.
So, and they have passed the century mark.
Yeah, absolutely.
Namur has passed the century mark. That is an awesome achievement. Sometimes that can be your goal for a game, because you really don't ever know what's going to happen. So you always want to win, right? But sometimes you got to set a different goal.
Yeah.
Here comes Goldilocks up the inside after an awesome offense by number 17, Sisu.
Oh, and well, clearly that's a jammer, but I don't see a helmet cover because it is on the
ground.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter because that was their initial, so now they just needed on to do their scoring passes. Is this a technique? Do they do it on purpose?
I mean, we've seen it twice at this point.
It's too much for a coincidence. Or is it? Oh, goodness. And then we have a fall and another fall. It was a fall small, though, so we have the at number 3, Goldilocks, who is looking towards their bench to see whether or not they should call it.
Exactly, looking and looking and looking, and sort of going, come on, like, I feel like you're going to ask me to call this. Why are you not asking me to call it? And look at that. That is 4 points apiece for Namur and Lille.
We got a little shout out from Ellie to Les Artichokes. Belle assist, Léa. It really was. It really was. C'était une belle assist.
Nice. Well, and hey, speaking of a belle assist, do you want to do a couple more jams in French?
Sure, absolutely. Alors, d'abord, on va commencer ce jam avec Turbo Waffle de Namur et Tagine Tonic qui fait un passage à l'extérieur en prenant de l'impact, mais en rebondissant. Elle a pris le lead, suivi par Turbo Waffle, pas loin derrière quand même. Alors Tagine dirige pour avoir ses offenses, pour passer tout le monde et gagner ses 4 points. C'était super bien fait. Ouais, mais là, en fait, il va falloir que je parte tout le temps parce que sinon, il y a ma collègue qui...
je dois penser un petit plou pour parler français. Je suis un peu plus lente.
C'est un temps de réflexion qu'on ne peut pas se permettre nécessairement sur le stream, mais je vais faire encore un petit jam en français pour continuer. On a Sisu et Patine Smith. Patine Smith de Lille qui juke et juke. Sisu qui prend l'outside puis l'inside et passe en facilité. Suivi pas loin par Patine Smith. On a un mur de Lille qui s'installe pour l'arrivée de Sisu avec sa bibiche numéro 73 qui fait l'offense, déconstruit le mur avec ce passage. Il y a les 4 points de marqué et il y a le col. Mais j'imagine que c'est intéressant pour vous, mais je ne vous ai pas dit pendant la première mi-temps, c'est la première fois que je speak en français. Normalement, je ne speak pas en français. Je peux faire ça pour amuser les gens, mais normalement, je le fais en anglais parce que c'est langue derby. Mais nous sommes à la presque fin de ce match. Le score est 110 à 172 pour Lille, pour nos... frères et sœurs et frères. Je vous demande pardon parce que je ne sais pas en fait le mot inclusif pour ce genre de personnes, mais de toute façon pour la famille, tu vois. Mais c'est notre famille de la France qui fait partie de la Belgique quand même. Ce sont nos cousins.
En esprit.
Oui, en esprit, c'est ça.
So in English, there is the wonderful word, of course, siblings, and be interesting if
There
anyone
is a
on the
word
stream.
there is a word in French, but I just can't remember
Well,
it. There's an
maybe,
inclusive word.
Hopefully someone in the stream can pop in that information for us.
Sure, I'm
What
just
is
a
the right word
little
for
too
sibling?
tired right now to think of it. So,
very
and I
fair.
know a lot of inclusive French, and I was using it while we were while I was speaking, but and I know how to write it.
Yeah. But it doesn't always appear.
It doesn't always appear in the front of my mind's
Very fair.
ready and waiting for me to use it, because it does require a little bit of reflection. But it isn't hard to use inclusive French, and anybody can
along.
do it. Yeah, absolutely. There's been a lot of development. I'm even reading a book on inclusive typography, which is really cool.
You know, I know some people who have designed inclusive typefaces.
See, that's so cool. On the that being said, on the outside, we have Goldilocks, who has gotten the lead and has gotten through really like there's nobody there, but that's not true. It's because their wall came back, sucked on the other wall, and was able to give them a nice little offense. Now they're going to
beautiful.
do
Look
a
at that.
cute little spin move.
Absolutely.
A nice little sidewinder into 180.
Yep.
All 4 points. Calls it off.
Great
Surgical.
awareness.
Yeah.
Great awareness, seeing that Tajin Tonic was on the way into that pack, preparing to get some points, and going, no, not going to happen.
But the thing is that Tajin Tonic is fierce, so you got to make sure that you know exactly what you're doing. You don't give them any time to get through, because Tajin Tonic is the one who will steal a point or two from you.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, you know, we see the difference, I think, between practice on a B team versus a C team.
Yeah, it's just maybe on the C team there's a little less experience, but there's a lot of really good skaters. So a lot of it just comes with experience and playing the game and watching lots of derby. I really encourage you to watch a lot of derby.
And there's Dynam Hit with lead, heading into the pack for a first scoring pass and a star pass for Lille. So that's à la Bene.
From Patins 8 à la Bene.
Indeed. Yeah. And a little bit of activity there. Yeah.
It looked like a little bit of a tumble. Everybody's getting a little bit more tired. Sometimes we fall more when we're tired. That being said, it was good awareness by the Namur jammer to be able to know that they got all 4 of the points. Everybody's falling. It doesn't matter. Go ahead and call it. You call it, you got your 4 points. It's 118 to 172. There's roughly 50 seconds left in the game.
Yep.
This is probably the last jump, but it might not be, so stay tuned. You never know.
Who knows if they're being very strategic and if their bench is helping them out. And with, indeed, Namur still has a timeout available to them. So if they so chose, they could make an additional period happen.
Now this is the first jam of the game for Hip Kick as jammer, number 360. So they're coming through as lead jammer, so they've gotten through quite quickly as lead jammer, weaving through everyone as if there's some sort of cone exercise, just like slalom.
Yeah.
Picking up another 4 points. Meanwhile, Sisu is coming around for their first scoring pass.
Absolutely, and that's now Hip Kick chasing Sisu, in fact, into that pack.
But you should know that that's not really what's happening, because Hip Kick is a whole lap ahead.
Absolutely.
So Hip Kick does make it through for another 4 points. They're doing extremely well, and I'd be wondering why they didn't jam the rest of the game, but they didn't need to. They had Tajin, they had a lot of really good
and they're now
jammers,
calling
you know?
it.
So they didn't need to.
There we go. And they ran that period clock down below the 0, meaning that this is now the unofficial score, 126 to 184. And of course, the jammer referees need to go over to the score table, double check the paperwork, and sign it before that score becomes official.
Absolutely. It's 126 to 184, 126 à 184. Une belle bagarre des deux côtés. A nice fight from both sides. Really, like a lot of fight. As we said, 2 teams that at the beginning had like very, very close games and very close scores. We didn't know what was going to happen.
There we
the
go.
Final score
it is
has
now
been
final,
validated.
which also means that those 2 players who were in the penalty box can be released.
Which is nice, because it sucks to sit there and be like, I want to go see my friends and celebrate.
Well, but what's so nice about it is just a moment ago, we were seeing a view of the penalty box in the stream, and they were having a lovely chat with each other.
Okay, that's
and I
nice.
love that about Derby.
I love that about Derby, just like how in the middle of the jam, you'll reach down and pull up an opposing skater and get them back into the gym. That's just gorgeous.
Exactly. And so that is it for that final game.
And that's the end of skate around 6.
Yeah.
We did it. We made it.
Thank goodness.
We're through.
Long weekend, but a good weekend. And we hope you all enjoyed watching these 8 fantastic games that we have had here this weekend.
Make sure that you tune in for every Derby live stream. If you subscribe, you'll get that information as soon as it comes out. And when you rewatch the streams, rewatch the games, make sure that you also send a super chat or a super thanks if you can. We'd like to thank everyone who has been a part of this amazing experience.
Yep.
It's been great. And I've been Dark Pistol.
And I've been Dr. Disaster, and we will see you again
next year.
Yeah.